Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm excited to walk you through the new SEO checklist that I've created just for our clients and our own agency. Now this isn't going to be like an average SEO checklist that you might find on the internet. I built this to actually help businesses like yours to save thousands of dollars, often wasted when you do hire these SEO companies. In this video, I'm going to break down each one of these items in the SEO checklist, and if you follow along, by the end of it, you're going to have a solid strategy in place in order to help your website get crawled, indexed, and ranked. So let's just jump into each one of these items and get started. And if you haven't already purchased the SEO checklist, that's fine. You don't need to purchase it to follow this tutorial, but if you want to help support the channel, I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you can purchase this checklist. So of course, you can go ahead and edit any of these because this is just like an Excel spreadsheet. So you can always change out the logo here, and you can change the colors of these rows. Nothing is like locked in. So you can always, just use this for your agency, or if you want to use this for clients, you can go ahead and type in like their business name here, their website URL. So it's a more personalized kind of like checklist. So the very first one is very simple, and this is the SEO plugin that I recommend these days. I actually recently switched over into using Slim SEO. I was using Yoast way back in the day, the all-in-one SEO. If you start to install other SEO plugins, you're going to realize really quick they're very bloated, and they're going to add a lot of extra pop-ups on your back end, and it just makes it more confusing. This plugin is really good because it's very lightweight and it's 100% free for most things. You're not really going to need the pro version unless you need to do a little more custom things like the schema or link manager. So everything else is 100% free. So that's what I like about this. You can see right here, they give you tons of different things. So once you have that installed, now I'm going to show you some of the options I have enabled on our Wiki Design website. And once you have that installed, if you head over into settings and then underneath Slim SEO, this is where all of their options are. So the thing I love about this plugin is all of this is just kind of like a one screen. Like I said, if you use other SEO plugins, it's a mess. It's very hard to navigate. So these are all the ones that I have enabled. I believe everything is on by default. I turned off this one right here, the image alt text. So I like to always manually add my own alt text. So if you want to have it where this plugin will do it automatically, you can do that. And then I don't really need to worry about doing any sort of redirects. I actually like to hand code my redirects still. So if you want to have redirects on, you can have the SEO plugin do that. So that's kind of common for like all the other ones like Yoast, they have that. And then up here, you're going to see that it can automatically generate a title tag, a description. The next part of the audits is going to be really important. We're going to have the robots file. And the good thing is that you can go ahead and click on any of these and it gives you more information. So that's what I like about this plugin. And then up here, I didn't add anything under code. Under meta tags, this is where you can go ahead and turn on and off if you don't want it to, like for some reason, you don't want to have this stuff on for the pages, you could turn that off right here. But I kept pretty much everything by default. And if you go underneath social, this right here, I think is pretty important. So what this means is anytime that you share a post or a page or anything like that, you can have it kind of default back into a regular image. So I have it just kind of like a picture of just us. So instead of it having to rely on trying to find the featured image or anything like that, it can always fall back into these. So I highly recommend adding that. And that's it. That's really all the settings there are in Slim SEO. So the good thing is you can always override any sort of these settings. So on this post right here, this is the automatic meta title. And so you can go ahead and type in anything you want right here. And then a lot of times I like to add my own Facebook and Twitter images right here on the social. So you can override the ones I just showed you. That's what that was. So the way I have this checklist is you can go ahead and check if it's passed, caution, fail, or NA. And all you need to do is underneath each one of these fields, just type in X, and then it's automatically going to change it to the color that it corresponds. So you can see if I change that, it's going to go to yellow. And then if you put an X under fail, it turns red. And then I have it kind of grayed out right here. So I have that all conditionally set up right here on the back end. So the next one is going to be the robots.txt file. So long story short is this is just a really simple text file that Google or any search engine should look at, and then you can tell it where your sitemap is and all of that information all within this little text file. So let me show you what the one is for our website, Wiki Design. So as you can see, if you go to wikidesign.com/robots.txt file, this is basically saying you can crawl it, and then you can see right here where it says disallow. That plugin automatically is going to add this. So you don't need the search engines to be searching your back end. And then they have it where it's not going to be searching if you have like a search page or anything like that. It's not going to, search that because it's kind of like useless information to try to index. And then you can allow this right here is important. You need to make sure you can allow this one. And then right down here, this is the sitemap. So if I go ahead and copy this and paste it in, this is telling the robots where the sitemap is. And so this is automatically generated. So this sitemap is really important because this is telling Google or any search engine, these are all of our posts. So if I click on post, you can see we literally have hundreds of posts on this website. And then if I click on page, this has all of our pages. So now we can go back into our checklist and put an X for the robots. The sitemap was in there, and that it was the sitemap I just showed you. So now let me go ahead into Google Search Console and then show you where you need to submit that sitemap. So if you don't already have a Google Search Console account, what I recommend is you can just click on this link right here in the checklist, and then you're going to need to verify your domain. So it's going to be a few steps up front. Once you do that, then you're going to have an interface that looks similar to this. Then what you can do is, what I always like to do first is go ahead underneath on the left side, click on Sitemaps. And then this is going to be blank right here. So what you need to do in this case was I just need to type in sitemap.xml. So you can see, you just hit that button and hit submit. It's just going to take maybe a day or two, and then Google's going to go ahead and start to crawl your website. And you can see right here, I submitted it way back in like 2019, and then it was last read yesterday. So today's the 11th. So it reads it every couple of days, and then you can see right here if it's been successful and then how many pages were discovered. So 616 right here. So that's a very, very important thing because this is going to give Google an idea of all of your pages. So if it can't crawl your website for some reason on the front end, it has your sitemap. And so I believe it goes to your sitemap first, and then it would like crawl your pages. So once you do that, you can go back into your checklist and add an X. The next 4 items right here are going to be if these pages exist and they have good information on them. So I'm talking about the about page, contact, terms of service, and a privacy policy. So in some cases, you might not have a terms of service, but let me go ahead and show you our website and all of these pages. So I wanted to make sure we do have the about page. So this is a really good place where you can go ahead and add anybody that might be on your staff. So if I scroll down here, you can see this is where I am. And then we have Barbara here. I can't stress how important this is, not only for like a branding perspective, but Google wants to know, are these real people? I mean, you're not using stock images here. You need to be using real pictures of people. And, as a customer, you want to make sure it's real, not AI. I can't stress how important this is. So this is a really important thing. And the contact page I have found is really important as well, especially if you see this right here where my phone number is. I'm going to talk about local later, but I couldn't get my Google business profile connected unless I added my phone number to my contact page. So there's certain things that are very important in order to make sure everything is going to be indexed correctly. And on our contact page, very simple. We just have like a little paragraph, a picture of us, our business hours, email, phone number. Since we work out of the house, we don't have our house address on here. But if you do have a business address, a physical place, you got to definitely add it on your contact page. Then down here, like I said, I always recommend having a privacy policy page on every website. So this goes ahead and shows you what information is being logged about your cookies, your security. And then this is really important too. You want to make sure that they can contact you. So make sure in your privacy policy, always have a way that people can contact you. And we also run a digital shop. So this is probably where you might have bought our SEO checklist, whatever it may be. And if you look down here, we have our terms right here. So if you're selling anything, you're going to want to make sure that you have a whole section on like payments, any sort of refund policy, warranties. This is very important. So now you can go ahead and just add an X to those if you have those pages, but highly recommend you at least have those 4 pages. So this one's going to be really important, and that is you want to make sure that you're not like globally blocking your website from being indexed. So inside of WordPress, they have one little checkbox, and if you have this on, there's a good chance your website's just not going to get ranked inside of Google. So let me show you where that is. And that checkbox is underneath your settings, and then right here where it says reading. So if you had this like on a staging website or somewhere else, if you have this on, it's going to make it where the search engines can't find you. So I'm pretty sure that any of these SEO plugins, like the Slim SEO that we installed, if you have this enabled, they're probably going to give you a big warning at the top. Hey, your website can't be indexed. Make sure you have this off. And then just go ahead and put an X right here. And this is pretty standard these days. You're going to want to make sure that your websites are always HTTPS. You no longer want to have HTTP ever. So it's very easy on most hosting platforms that you automatically are going to have HTTPS enabled. But if you want to go ahead on the front end and just make sure it's all working, if you click right here inside of Chrome, if you click this little like settings button, this is the site information, and it will tell you if the website's secure. So you can see right here, connection is secure. And then you can go ahead and just click this button where it says like certificate is valid. You can see that it's being encrypted by Let's Encrypt. And then you can see the dates right here. So this is very important. You're going to want to make sure you always have your websites secure. So now you can go ahead and just add an X right here. So the next two are going to be if you have a custom title tag and meta descriptions. So you can go ahead. I'm just going to put X for these because sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. So this is something that's definitely changed over the years, and this is Google sometimes doesn't care what you put in your meta descriptions or your title tags. If Google feels that your page is something else, it's just going to override everything you put in here. So it's something that you could still do because this is where you can go ahead and add a few keywords. And if Google, like I said, decides to keep yours, it will rank it or index it that way. If not, it would just do whatever it wants. So in this case, this is our homepage right here. And I have it where I want to make sure I kind of rank for affordable, small business website design, $99 a month. And here's your meta descriptions. So there's a couple different ways you can go ahead and do that. If you go to your page or your post, you click on quick edit. This is where you can go ahead and just change whatever you want right here. And then that title for that page should change to this and your meta description. So you can do it in there, or you can go ahead and just click inside each one of your pages or posts and change it there. I like to change it right here so you can kind of see it. And like I said, Google will do whatever it wants. I've learned that over the years. I would say maybe 25% of the time. I mean, nobody has the exact number. About 25% of the time, Google will use what you put. The rest of the time, it's just going to do whatever it thinks is best. So you can go ahead and, if you want to have 100% custom, and this is where you can add a few keywords if it makes sense. And the next one is you're going to want to make sure that you have your permalinks set to something that's more SEO friendly. So let me go into our settings and show you what that means. So if you go underneath settings and under permalinks, you're going to want to make sure it says right here, post name. You want to make sure that your website, of course, isn't stuck right here where it's like your page is called $P = 1 2 3. That's not good. You're going to want to make sure that you have your pages and your post all set to like post name. So if I go into our post right here, you can see that like right here, we made a good one on like blogging is on life support. So that is the slug right here. So I wanted to make sure that if someone types it into Google, I have a chance that our slug, which is our permalink, has some good keywords in it, and hopefully it will get ranked. So that right there is something that I always am aware of, is making sure that my URLs are friendly and not just like a bunch of gibberish and code up there. So the next section is if you're going to be having a blog on your website. Now, moving forward, having a blog on your website isn't going to carry as much weight as it used to. What we personally believe is a good option is if you're going to be doing some sort of blog, heavily integrate it with something else like a videos or podcast or something that's more than just like written content. And the reason why we say that is because basically anybody can create content within minutes now. So anybody can go to a ChatGPT, type in anything, and guess what? They're going to have a blog post. So unless you're making very unique, like personalized blog posts, we recommend focusing more on video content, that type of stuff. That's going to be the future because like I said, AI is here and it's going to be staying. So if you are going to be having a blog, we recommend these three things. Make sure you're consistent, have some sort of like way to share the post. And then if you are going to have a lot of blog posts, make sure everything's kind of set in categories. So let me just put these to X and I'm going to show you our website. So if you head over into resources, we used to have it called blogs, but now we just called it videos. So it's still considered a blog feed, but as you can see, we haven't written a blog post in a while. So all of our feed is basically just videos. We have live feeds, tutorials, I'm on a podcast, that type of information. So as you can see up here, this is the structure I like to do. We have the title, you have the breadcrumbs. So if the user wants to go back to just the category called live streams, they can do that. So that's what that section is right here. These are the different blog categories. So if you are going to be having a lot of blog posts, I highly recommend having some sort of filtering system, something along those lines. Not only for users, but Google loves when you do this type of stuff because you're making their life a lot easier because everything's kind of organized by categories. And then you can see right here, if I click on one of these blog posts, this isn't a bad practice to have, is to have some sort of a social sharing component. So inside of Elementor, very easy. You just drop in a social widget, add what you want, and that's it. So you want to have it where the user can go ahead and click on one of these. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you're somewhat consistent. So this is going to vary. For us, we like to do at least once a week for a video or blog feed. But depending on your use case, it could be once a month, a couple times a month, whatever it may be. If you are going to be running a blog, the one recommendation I have is don't just abandon it. So don't start it and then you really don't have any plans to actually use it, and you don't post more than like once every 6 months or a year. Don't even bother, because that's actually going to be sending a bad signal not only to Google, but also to your users, because users are going to think you could be out of business or your content's stale. We just recommend, if you're not going to keep up with it, don't even add a blog to your website. So the next one is you're going to want to make sure that your URL structure, if you are going to be having a lot of products or pages, put them in different categories. So similar to what I just showed you on our website, with blog posts, you could do the same thing for pages or products. So if you jump over into our shop page and you look at the URL structure, it's shop.wikidesign.com. So it's like a subdomain. And when I click on one of our products, you're going to see that it's a URL structure right here called /products. And then each one of these is, going to be underneath product. So if I click on like website audit, you're going to see it's underneath product. So this type of structure is really going to be useful if you're going to be having a lot of pages or products. You're going to want to keep it very organized, not only for you, but for the search engines as well, because it's going to make your sitemap a lot cleaner. It's just going to clean everything up. So it's a really good practice to keep that in mind. So if you're happy with your URL structure, you can always just give it an X right here. The next one is going to be jumping back over into your Google Search Console and checking out the page indexing section. So if I jump over into our travel website, if you look underneath indexing and you click on pages, so this top part right here is going to be showing you all the pages that are indexed correctly. So you can go ahead and click that, and then you can, get an idea for which pages are indexed correctly. But what's more importantly is if you go down here, you're going to want to make sure why certain pages aren't going to be indexed. So when you run a website and you start to get a bunch of pages, it's going to start to look like this. So you're going to have certain pages that have like a weird redirect and it's not working correctly or something along those lines. You can go ahead and here, click on this and then get more information on why that redirect didn't work. Or in this case, there's a bunch of no index tags. So on certain posts or post types, I might have this off in the SEO setting. It could be a million different things. So it's always kind of good to go in here once in a while and just figure out which ones you can fix easily. Or in some cases, like if I don't want certain post types to be indexed, it's okay to see that in here. So it's not like if something's in here, there's something bad. It's literally telling you and Google like which pages are going to be indexed, which are not going to be indexed. So it's a really good resource to go in here and just check every once in a while. So you can go ahead and just give that one an X. The next one is you're going to want to make sure that you have a custom 404 page. So let me jump over into our website right here. And if I show you the URL, you can see it's wikidesign.com. And I just made a page just called like no page here because I knew there would be no page there. So inside of something like Elementor, you can easily go ahead and create a 404 page template. And then what I recommend here is have something that says, we can't find the content you're looking for. And then in this case, I want people to watch our YouTube videos. So you could put your YouTube videos here, or you can have like a search here. If you have blogs, you can put that here, custom image, something funny. So it's best practice to go ahead and just create a 404 page. It just takes a few minutes. You set it up once and you never have to worry about it again. And so you can just give that one an X. And this one is a personal preference I like to do. And I like to make sure that all of your header links and your footer links actually work. You'll be surprised how many times I go to websites and literally like the contact page doesn't work in some cases, or like they have a social icon and that doesn't work. So just go ahead into your header and footers and just click around, just click on everything, make sure everything's working. Go into your footer, make sure everything's kind of up to date. Like this is a big one, 2024. Click on each one of these, make sure these work, and just kind of go through that. So you can just give that one an X. So this whole next section is just going to be if you're running a local business and you need to rank in Google Business Profile. It used to be called Google My Business. So if you see that terminology somewhere online, it's the same thing. And if you aren't 100% familiar with what that is, so if you go and you are on Google Maps and you look for a restaurant or anything like that, that's a Google Business Profile. So in our case, we just have wiki design, and you can see that we have some information right here. And this has like our business name, website. We don't have a physical location, but we do have a service area. We have some reviews, a little description. Here's our feed. Here's your different social profiles. So this is what they consider your business profile. So what I recommend is go through the checklist and make sure you have all of the things enabled. So you need to go ahead and just click on this link if you don't have one. And the hardest part about this is actually going to get your verification. So depending on your use case, you might have to do like a video verification. They used to do postcards. I don't think they do that anymore because there's a lot of scammers on here. So I will give you one piece of advice. We are a service-based business, and for the longest time, I only had to verify through like a postcard, and it was fine. Then all of a sudden, I started making changes to our profile, like a lot of different changes, like our service area, our phone number. Then what they did is they kind of suspended the account until I could verify it. And I had to do a video verification. So I had to walk outside my house, unlock my front door, show the computer I'm working on. So if you have a service-based business, you're going to have to verify it that way. If you have a brick and mortar and you have signs, they're going to want to have video of your signs. They go through the whole process. It really wasn't that big of a pain. But the one thing that I did notice was on this next one, if you look where it says NAP, that stands for name, address, and phone number on contact page. So like I said, I couldn't get verified for my phone number because I wanted to have our phone number on the Google profile. Until I put that on my contact page, it didn't show up in my Google profile. So right here, I wanted to add our phone number. And it wasn't until I added it to my contact page because they needed to verify that it was on the website. So you're going to want to make sure that on your contact page that you have your information. So in this case, I just have our business name, our hours, email, and phone number. So I do not have our address because, like I said, it's a home address. So I don't want to put that out there. So you won't have to put the address if it's like a service base. But if you have a brick and mortar, you have to make sure that you have your address on there. So that I said right there is already on there. The URL is when you go back into your profile. This right here is your website URL. So you're going to want to make sure that you have one there. And then for hours, you're going to want to make sure that you have this up to date. In most cases, you just set this up and forget it. And you can always go in every week and do it. I'm not 100% sure like how long it takes for Google to like re-verify certain changes. That's what's weird about this platform is some things change instantly. Like, so for down here, for example, I can add a post and it gets shown like almost instantly. But if I would change my hours, it might take days for Google to like update the hours. So some of the stuff is still like a manual process that they have to verify because of bots and scammers. So just be aware that certain things might not show up instantly. And then you're going to want to make sure you respond to reviews. And then this is a really important one. You're going to want to make sure that you are not keyword stuff in your title. So right here it says wiki design. I used to have it say like /Philadelphia web design, but you can get suspended if you do that. And then other people can report you. So if you have a lot of competitors in your area and they see that you're keyword stuffing, they're going to report you. And so I definitely recommend using the post capability. So if you look down here, you can create little updates is what they call it on the back end. So every once in a while, if you have a special or anything like that, definitely throw it in here. Since we're just like a service base, I'm just throwing my videos in here. These things aren't going to rank very well like organically, but if someone's on Google Maps, this type of stuff could pop up. So if you are running a brick and mortar, I definitely recommend adding stuff in here. Like if you're going to have a special event, you know, like a band coming into your business on Friday night, put that in here, and it might show up in like Google Maps in some areas. And then if anybody asks any questions, you can go ahead and answer that and then add photos. So if someone is here and they click on ask a question, it's going to automatically show up on your end, and then it's best to go ahead and answer that. So since we're running a service-based business, nobody really does this, but maybe if you're running, a brick and mortar, you might start getting more questions. Just make sure you always answer it in a professional manner. respond to all your reviews, just kind of like standard things. Because me personally, when I look at a business and if they neglect responding to bad reviews, or you could just tell like they abandoned this and never really update it, sometimes I actually think the business is out of no longer in business. So I highly recommend, if you're going to have this profile, go ahead and start to become active in it. Don't just, like a blog, like don't just set it up and then never do anything with it. This one is going to take some, extra effort. And if you do have a team, maybe they can respond to your reviews. So that's the Google business profile. Definitely something, if you are going to have that, just keep it up to date. And then the last section is overall just branding and the web design itself. So believe it or not, having a really good brand and a really clean layout is going to go a long way. Because if you have a messy layout and your branding's all over the place, Google will know. Like, they will understand that if you don't have consistent colors throughout, if all of your fonts are changing every page, like that's a problem. So you're going to want to make sure that you have some sort of branding styles. So if I go into our website, for example, you're going to want to make sure that all of your colors are the same. So the blue color that we have in our logo here is being used throughout any sort of headers we have, the buttons. So branding is going to go a long, long way. You're going to want to make sure that you take this serious, because if you don't, not only is it a bad signal to users, but Google will understand that you're using different colors and different fonts for all of your pages, and that's not a good signal at all. So the next one is your Favicon. So this is going to actually show up in a lot of different areas, especially throughout Google and on your website. So you're going to want to make sure that that is done correctly. So first, let me show you, if you go back into an organic search, Google's now using your Favicon right here. So this little tiny mark whenever you go to a website. So when you scroll down, here's like the YouTube one, the LinkedIn, Clutch. So that means that these websites all have their Favicon enabled. And if you go to the website itself, you can see right here in the very top left corner, it has our little W. So I can quickly show you in WordPress where that is if you're using something like Elementor. And that is if you go underneath your website, underneath Appearance, Customize, and then where it says Site Identity, this is where you're going to go ahead and add your site icon. So site icon is the same as like a favicon. It's the same thing. And it shows you right here, you can upload a little tiny image and it will show up in the tabs. And like I said, Google is going to be using this on their organic, maybe like Google Maps. So make sure you have it because that's really important. So you can just go ahead and give that an X. So if you're using any sort of website builder like Elementor, the mobile friendly is going to be something that's automatically enabled. And you just need to make sure that stuff is starting to scale down when you scale down on your phone. So if you want to learn if something is mobile friendly, what you can do is go to a website in Chrome and hit F12. This will pull up this little console. And what you could do is just start to click and drag the website down. And you could see when I do that, everything's getting scaled down. It pulls in the mobile menu. So here we are in like 2024. Most websites are going to be mobile friendly, especially if you're building it with a custom builder like Elementor, Bricks, anything along those lines. You're most likely already mobile friendly. You just need to go ahead and make sure that stuff gets scaled down. So you could see right here, like our fonts get scaled. You don't want to have it where this font is like really large. So definitely go ahead on your cell phone. Don't always use the browser because sometimes it can render out different in the browser than on your phone. And then the next one is social media on site. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you have some sort of social icons if you have social media. If you don't have social media, you can't do this one, of course. But if you scroll down, you're going to want to make sure that you have your social media at least in your footer. If it makes sense, you can have some up in the header as well. But a lot of times it's going to help the user understand that, hey, you're on these different platforms. If you want to go click on YouTube, it will automatically go to YouTube. And the next one is you're going to want to make sure that you have the correct navigation tag inside of your HTML. So I'm just going to go ahead and give that an X. So what that means is not only should you have your navigation, set up nice and clean, make sure everything's working, but inside of the HTML, what you can do is you can hit F12, go into the console mode, and you can inspect this code right here. You don't have to do all of this, but I just wanted to show you what I'm talking about. So if I go into here, right here where this says nav, this means that this is like a traditional HTML nav system. And so that's showing Google, hey, this is the official like navigation within your website. So inside of Elementor, I'm just using like a regular menu widget that comes with Elementor. You don't have to do anything. So you don't have to worry about this type of code. But I just wanted to show you that This is telling Google, hey, this is the navigation system. This isn't like a regular like list item. Treat this with more importance. So you want to have any sort of keywords that you can add up here, but don't like keyword stuff, of course. Whatever makes sense, throw it up here. So I want people to know we offer web design, branding, video creation. So those are like some keywords. So web design, so that's sending a signal to Google. They offer web design services. So keep it very simple. And if you can, you look in your code, just make sure it says nav. But like I said, if you're using a modern builder like Elementor, they do all of that work for you. You don't have to worry about the coding. I just wanted to show you. And then this last one is you just want to make sure that you don't have any acceptable or like intrusive pop-ups. So you don't want to have any pop-ups where somebody has to engage with a pop-up in order to see the content, because that's going to run into a lot of issues, not only from like a usability standpoint, but Google might not be able to see your website. So if you have it where it's like you have to click yes in order to see certain information, that might not rank very well. So just go ahead and make sure you don't have anything like along those lines. And that's it for this SEO checklist walkthrough. If you want to purchase this, I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want to help support the channel. Thanks again for watching. This is Mark from Wiki Design.